Streaming live via the internet. Welcome to ISP Radio, your weekly source for ISP-related news, events, and interviews with industry experts. If you deliver internet via fiber optic, wireless, coax, or any other way, you're in the right place. Chat live with us weekly via ispradio.com every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Time. And now a brief word from our sponsors. Link Technologies, providing ISP consulting, support, and hardware for wireless ISPs. TowerCoverage.com, providing online RF coverage maps. And now your host for ISP Radio, Steve Grabiel and Dennis Burgess.
Welcome to another edition of ISP Radio. I'm your host, Steve Grabiel, broadcasting from my office in Moriarty, New Mexico. Dennis Burgess is producing the show and co-hosting the show from St. Louis. Dennis, you there? How's things been going out there?
Oh, we've been really, really busy. It's all really good stuff. This is actually our very first, well, it's not our first, it's our second live Facebook broadcast. We're actually co-broadcasting on Facebook and YouTube now, so that's really, really good. We do have some awesome events coming up. Let me pull up our radio calendar here. Next week we have Tower Coverage version 3 launch. We're going to be talking about TowerCoverage.com version 3. And then we have Ryan from, I think it's Unitel, on
Yes.
the 9th. Ryan Keeley from Unitel. He's going to be talking about their products and services. And then we also have the wonderful major topic that we're going to be talking about today, which is WISPAPAOOLZA. That runs October 9th through the 13th. I am going to be there. It's going to be a absolutely fabulous show, and we highly recommend everybody to sign up for the show and get in on that. Otherwise, the weather's hot today. We have a heat advisory. We actually hit a new high last Saturday. We had we reached officially 108, which is probably not hot for you because you're down the desert, but we actually reached an official 108, and I think the last time that was measured was like in 1923 or something like that. So
that's still blazing hot, plus you got humidity.
Yeah. So today we had, whenever I got here at my office, it was 90 degrees, it was 89, and it was 83% humidity. So that's, breathe in, spit out weather.
Right. Well, I want to do a shameless plug for you. Yesterday, we buckled down and bonded two SAF radios together after they've been running for 2 years without being bonded. So we successfully bonded them together, and I had Dennis log into it and take a look, and it looked like we did it right. Did a little heeky, but Dennis set me straight, suggested I get a little higher horsepower router to make it work better.
Oh, yeah.
You want to talk about that a little bit, Dennis?
Well, in this particular case, we had two links. I think you said the max capacity of both links is like 360. And 360 is a decent number. It really depends on how much speed you're going through. In our case, we're just doing the balance RR method, so we're not doing LACP or lagging. Also, you're doing OSPF on it, so you can't really use layer 2 and layer 3 transmit hashes. You have to actually use layer 3 and 4 to get a good balance. But in your particular case, you put a 750 GL, I believe, on one end, and that's like a 400 megahertz CPU, and software bonding, it's not going to probably get your full throughput. It'll probably be fine for your 100 meg or something like that, but you definitely need to make sure that you have a little bit more CPU eventually in there. And what I was telling Steven last time was it is always cheaper, at least I feel it's cheaper to drop in a CCR 1009 right away than to go replace equipment, especially on a remote site that you're not normally at. I mean, if you're at your office, it's easy to swap out a piece of equipment, but if you have to drive out there, now you have 2-3 hours or 4 hours of drive time plus equipment switching out, now you're up to the cost of that newer unit. And most of the time, it's just simpler to put in something that you will not overgrow within the next 2 years, versus putting in something that you're probably going to overgrow within a year.
Yeah. Well, tell them a little bit about that little trick you told me about the 1009-7.
Gotcha. So Microtech actually has two boards that are called 1009s. They have 1009 8Gs, and then they have 1009 7Gs. And the 7Gs are the new products. That's the new product that just recently came out. It is pretty much what everybody's stocking at this point in time. I don't believe we actually have any of the 8Gs anymore. The problem with the 8Gs is, in their infinite wisdom to save money, what they did is they put ports 1 through 4 on a 1 gig interconnect to the CPU. So ports 1 through 4 will never get more than a 1 gig throughput. End of story. It's just the way it is. With the 7Gs, which is the current production release, the current release that's currently out, that product has full wire speed to every port. So in your particular case, you put bonds on ports 3 and 4, and then you're uplinking on port 1. That's fine. You only have 360 something meg to handle. You take that, times it by 2, you still are under a gig. You're fine in your throughput. But in those particular events, I highly recommend that you sit there and you make sure that you don't go over that, because we've had issues where customers have called us up. Hey, I'm not getting, I got 2 SICLU links, 1 gigabit SICLU links, and we're bonding them, and we're only getting a half a gig, or we're getting a gig out of it, but we're getting a half a gig out of each port, and that's one of the reasons why. So you just have to make sure of that, and that's fairly well documented and well known. If you look at their block diagram, Microtech's block diagram, it will show you that the first 4 ports share that 1 gig bus.
Gotcha. Well, enough about us. We've got a full show. We've got on the show today the Director of Operations for WISPA, Trina Coffey. She's going to tell us a little bit about the upcoming show, and we've got Nathan Stuke, too, to tell us about the changes that they've made and where they plan on going with this show as it grows. So, Trina, Nathan, you guys there?
Yes.
Trina, take it away.
Oh, take it away. So, WISPAPAOOLZA this year is October 9th through the 13th. On the 9th, we will be having Master Monday, which is new for us this year. What we will have is 10 sessions only on Monday, 5 in the morning running from 9 to noon, and 5 in the afternoon running from 1 to 5. And they will be deep dive sessions into the particular subject. And it will go much deeper than a normal session that we have at either show. So I'm sorry, I did not pull up the agenda before we started talking about this so I could look at the sessions. So I'll leave Nathan to talk about some of them, because we don't want Trina to start sounding like an idiot because she's not technical. So Nathan can give you a quick brief overview of each of the sessions and what we'll be doing in them. Go ahead, Nathan.
Thanks, Trina. I'm really excited about these Master Mondays, because some of the feedback we've gotten over the shows is that now people, they know they're coming to every WISPAPAOOLZA or every show we have, so they're asking for deeper discussions, deeper dives into some different topics. So what we did was we sent out some feelers. We asked who would want to know what, and got some good feedback. And Master Monday is exactly that. This is deep information. Now, if you've never been to a WISPAPAOOLZA, you can still come to these. You'll still get lots of information. But the idea is that it allows the speaker or sets of speakers to have much more time to discuss. So we have BGP. That's a hot topic now when people are multi-homing and they need to spread out their bandwidth load and different things. We're going to do a deep discussion about BGP, how to set it up. We may even have some hands-on, but they actually will take you through the setup in a router. And then we have, that's technical, and then we have an IPv6 rollout. So this is something it's a discussion that's happened a lot. How do I roll out IPv6? And then people didn't do it very much, and then it came back around. And now that IP addresses are costing us money from our providers, and some people are running out or don't have them, I think IPv6 actually rolling it out, what does it actually look like, is a great session to have. We're going to talk about traction. So traction is a business model, how to run your business. Myself and an actual EOS implementer is going to be talking about that. The day-to-day operations, how do you get your company running smarter, better, smoother than it ever has in the past. Financial fundamentals, that's another one we have where slowly but surely, we've been having more and more finance sessions, and the attendance is growing. So if you have someone in your office that does your books or that does your finance, or if you split time doing that, this would be a great one for you to understand what the finances are and how you need to be looking at your business. RF network design. Again, we've always had a 1-hour session on this, but there just never seems to be enough time to teach people all the nuances of why a 10 megahertz channel has better penetration through leaves than a 20 megahertz, but then why does a wider antenna work better, and all those different things depending on what your needs are. And this network RF design one is going to be able to address those. CBRS is a new one kind of for us. This is the 3.5 to 3.65, the new rules for the kind of what we used to call the WiMAX spectrum. That's going to be held by a couple different organizations out there, pushing, WISPA being one of those, are pushing really hard to get the rules to be fair across the board and give the small guy the opportunity to play in the space as well. And they're going to be discussing some of the things you need to do to be ready, where they are in the proceedings, and how fast they think some of them might come through. Installer training, this is another one of our highest attended sessions. Typically we try to make it an hour and a half session, but there never seems to be enough time. So we moved it to Monday, and it's a full 3 hours where your installer or somebody that needs to know more, maybe you have a manager that manages your installers that needs to go there, and they can learn best practices from very successful installers throughout different WISPs as to how to install, what are some of the tricks that they find works best. Like, you don't want to mount your radio as high as you can. You want to mount it as low as you possibly can and keep a good signal, because you want interference to be rejected by mounting underneath the eave if you can, and those different little tricks that you need, plus the general concepts and some tools that people use. Another one we have is off-the-grid power for towers. This one, I kind of, it's a black magic. I love the description. Off-grid power is kind of a black magic. You know, do you do wind? Do you do solar? How much do you really need? Some people say you need this much. Other people say you need that. And we have a vendor coming in to actually teach this class that actually makes the different controllers we need. So I think it's going to be great to have them there, and from an expert, you hear what needs to be done. The final two we have is actually a part 1 and a part 2. Grounding. Again, grounding is, you know, some people say you should do this and some people say you should do that. There's very few WISPs out there that don't have to worry about lightning strikes. I know it's our #1 outage here at Whisper. Lightning, no matter what we do, seems to always be our #1 outage. And this class is going to be taught by another vendor who is an expert in the field, and they're going to teach you how you do grounding, how you do proper grounding. As simply as always have your cables run straight to the ground, no sharp turns in them, no going back up. There's all kinds of little things you can do to help protect yourself, and they're going to have a full day to talk about it. So you can see we tried to pick sessions that were business related, and installer and technical related, and then we threw in a couple extra ones in there as well. So whether you're a business person, a technical person, new to the industry, old to the industry, there should be something on Monday that you'll get a lot out of one of those sessions.
Quick question. You threw out an acronym in your traction class, EOS. What's that stand for?
Oh, good. Entrepreneur Operating System.
Okay.
So we all know that, you know, there's no book out there that I found until I found Traction that really actually gives you a guideline as to how to run your business. They all talk about, well, this is the theory behind how you do it, and this is what you should be trying to do, and this is what a good leader is. And the Traction is this whole ecosystem that completes the story as to how do you run your operation. And I've been doing it for years, and more people are doing it, and I've seen great results. So we made it a Master Monday so we can spend a lot of time talking about it.
It is a good book.
Gotcha.
Okay, well, after Monday, we kind of roll into the normal flow of WISPAPAOOLZA with the 1 hour session model that we always use. So we'll have breakfast on Tuesday morning, and then Nathan and I will do some opening remarks and some sponsor intros, and then Nathan's all-time fan favorite of speed dating. And then we'll have the State of WISPA address from the president of WISPA. And then we'll go into our normal flow of things with the exhibit hall hours. Now, one thing that will be different this year and I want to make people aware of, is that there will be a hard close on the exhibit hall every morning. Attendees will not be allowed in the exhibit hall until 12:30 when the first set of hours opens up. And this is to have a little bit of consideration for our vendors. They're typically in the exhibit hall until 7 or 8 in the evening and then trying to spend time with clients. They need a little while to answer some email, call home, take care of the day-to-day necessities of life. And then they will also get their lunch a little earlier than the attendees so that they have a chance to eat, so that they can visit with you all during the exhibit hall hours. So then we'll go into after the morning on Tuesday when we spend, most of the morning together, well, all of the morning together. And then the exhibit hall, we'll do a couple sessions that afternoon. Now, one thing that is new on the agenda this year is there is a level category by not all, but some of the sessions. And they're leveled either 101, 201, or 301. 101 being the easier level or the newer level. 201 getting a little bit more difficult, and 301 being probably the closest we have to an expert level on the agenda.
Yeah, can I jump in here, Trina, real quick and talk about that? So I'm glad you bring up the levels, because that kind of goes back to that feedback of, well, I went to this BGP session and all we did was spend time talking about what BGP was. I already knew what it was. I wanted to learn more about it. So we came up with this idea of putting those numbers behind it, because that's going to help our speakers also understand who the audience should be, because we want them to make sure that they're tailoring it to the people that are coming to the session. And then the people going to the session will know, because we used to do a newbie session and then an advanced session. And these numbers, I think, are going to allow us to break that down even more and cater to more people. Because as the show grows, we have such a diverse group of people there that this is an easy way for us to get the people into the right session they need to. So I'm excited to see, and you're right, it isn't on everyone, because like Spectrum Update, well, it's not, there isn't really a 101 or 201 or 301 for that, but it is a general update, so there isn't one by that. So yeah, that's glad you brought that up.
So Trina, I would love to ask this question. So let's kind of go back to the finances of not of the show, but of the attendee. What is an attendee going to pay to attend the entire show? And what is what are some of the other payment options? Not how to pay, but what are some of the other options? Maybe a person only has one day to spend, etc. What are those types of options for people to get to the show and to attend?
Okay, so we have lots of different ticket levels, okay? So if you want to be there Monday through Friday, if you want to go to Master Monday, you want to go to the normal WISPAPAOOLZA sessions and the Fiber Bootcamp sessions, which start rolling in on Thursday, and that's all the agenda is on Friday, then you'll want to buy an all-access ticket.
And everybody wants to buy that. That's all they want to do. They should all be there the whole week. Oh, wait, did I say that out loud? No, that's just what I feel about it.
There's also your standard WISPAPAOOLZA ticket, right? Which is Tuesday through Thursday, which will be the same as every other year that you've attended, with the exception of, once we go back to going over the agenda a little bit, I'll explain the differences in the agenda as to previous years. And then there is the Fiber Bootcamp ticket, which is Thursday and Friday only. And then, as always, you can purchase any one particular day or any combination of the WISPAPAOOLZA days. So a Tuesday, Wednesday ticket or a Wednesday, Thursday ticket. And obviously, you could purchase a Master Monday ticket and a Tuesday only ticket. There's several different ways. I will say to people, because everyone does it every year and adds it up, no, there's not a cheaper way to get entrance. If you buy the individual tickets, you're just going to pay more. So if you want to go all 5 days, buy the all access ticket. That will get you in to every session at the most economical level. And then, as always, there's the only difference in pricing is member to non-member. And The exhibitors have their own passes, some that come with their booths and some that they can pay additional for. Their passes are standard WISPAPAOOLZA tickets, Tuesday through Thursday.
Gotcha. So
I think one thing to touch on that is we put the fiber at the end, so Tuesday or Thursday and Friday. And one thing you'll notice is missing from Master Monday is we don't have anything about fiber on Monday, because we didn't want someone to say, well, wait a minute, I want to go to the fiber things. Wait, I have to come Monday and then wait all week and then go on Thursday and Friday. So we on purpose pushed everything to do with fiber at the end. And that was something that we made a conscious decision to do because we wanted to be cognitive of the people who say, well, I can only send my one fiber guy for just the fiber events. We tried to make it as efficient as we could for everyone.
Gotcha. Well, I just was curious because I know people, some people send multiple people. They send people for one day. They send people for, the whole 5-day session. This is the first time we have this 5-day session. And
it is, but it's really not.
Right.
I mean, we had Fiber Weekend previous. We have Fiber Boot Camp at the end now, but we had Fiber Weekend previously. So really, we had 5-day sessions, 5 days of sessions. They were just broke up by Monday previously. So in order to attend all 5 days before, you had to be there 6 days. And this is, Nathan and I went back and forth on basically, pushing the two programs together and not having that break day. And really, there were a lot of factors that went into that, starting with the WISPA staff. My staff is on location for anywhere. For Ariel and I, it's 10 days. For Gary or Will, it can be 9 or 8 days. It's pretty exhausting to work those hours for all of those days. So that was one consideration. Another was attendees who didn't have anything to do on Monday. They didn't want to take an additional training. They just wanted to go to Fiber Weekend and to WISPAPAOOLZA. And then another factor is airfare for the attendees. I mean, I do my best to have consideration for your expenses that I have no control over. I can't tell the airlines what to charge, and the hotels I can only negotiate to the best of my ability, right? So Friday is typically the most expensive day to fly into Vegas, no matter where you're flying from, because everybody flies in on Friday, right? So they can spend the weekend. Sunday is the most expensive day to fly out because everybody's got to go back to work. So with this model, in order to attend all of the WISPA sessions, Master Monday, WISPAPAOOLZA, and Full Fiber Friday and the Fiber Boot Camp sessions, you can fly in on Sunday evening, which is typically the cheapest day to fly into Vegas. The sessions on Friday end early afternoon, which is, again, typically the cheapest day to fly out of Vegas. Yeah. So you'll get the most economical airfares, and the hotels are starting to demand that our room block rates are slightly higher over the weekends. So this will prevent attendees from having to pay slightly higher weekend rates when I get to the point that I can't negotiate them down to the normal rate anymore.
Right. So, this entire change was, one, we already had the Fiber Weekend. We're combining that. We're not having an off day. Because I was there, last year and the year before, where I'm like, on Monday, what am I going to do? There's nothing going on.
For the people that want to do it, there are still co-located trainings going on. Gotcha. We have a co-located schedule up on the website. There are still some vendors offer theirs for free, some charge. But there is a full schedule of events there for folks to peruse. If, you've got 2 people coming and one wants to go to Master Monday and one wants to get some sort of additional training.
Is there a package from Tuesday through Friday?
So if you want to do Tuesday through Friday and not do Master Monday at all, what you would do is you would purchase a WISPAPAOOLZA ticket and then add Full Fiber Friday to it.
Okay. So there's plenty of options. Everybody has options. The Rio's a great hotel, great place, etc. I guess Nathan, going back to some of these training classes and some of the sessions, I mean, I actually sent you some emails today because I've actually finally looked at the WISPAPAOOLZA agenda, and it actually looks really good. I mean, it's really really fully featured, etc. Now, there's not going to be any exhibit hall on Friday, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Or on Monday.
Or on Monday. Gotcha. So that makes it easier for the vendors.
Right.
I guess, can you kind of go through some of the general sessions from Tuesday through Thursday and just give us some indicators of what some of those things, some of the key metrics. I know you get a lot of metrics from all the shows. What is all the attendees requesting, and how have you tailored to that? We've already talked about the Master Monday, but what about their other sessions?
Sure. I won't list them all because they're way too many. The Master Monday one I thought it was great to be able to go through all of them. But we take a couple different things into account when we figure out what sessions we should have. One, what were the really high attended sessions last year? Because even though you say, well, wait a minute, why would you do a session again? Well, because people are sending new people, and they need to be able to send different people to those. They need to be able to do, maybe they missed it and they have to go to a different one, or they have to do, there's several different reasons why we would do a double up. And if it was a very well attended one, that's a good reason. The other thing we do is when we send out the survey, we ask people, what do you want to learn about? What's concerning to you? What keeps you up at night? What do you think is an opportunity that you're doing really well at that you think other WISPs should know about? And we ask those questions. And then kind of the final way we do it is we look at what's active on the list. So the WISPA lists are just massively active. There's lots of information out there. And what's a discussion that comes up regularly, like off-site power? How do I get off-grid power? That's a topic that comes up constantly. So we put those sessions in there because obviously people are wanting to learn that information. And then as an agenda team, we intermix some other ones in there that maybe people aren't thinking about, but we feel they should be. And maybe they don't know that they should know this information, so we try to put it in there. So we've broken it down. We have technical, which we've always kind of had, business, and regulatory. And those are typically the three tracks that we've always had. But now we actually have marketing. We have infrastructure, which we don't have a lot of sessions on that, but infrastructure is more geared to, how am I actually going to build this? How am I going to deploy on a tower? How am I going to put this fiber in the ground? And it's a little different than technical, right? Because technical is more, how am I going to configure the router? How is this going to work? How's the radio going to behave and wireless and everything? Whereas the infrastructure is more the physicals behind that. So we added that this year. And then we also have the HR track. And then we have, this year we also added a biz new and a tech new. We wanted to make sure we had some of those one-on-one classes in there because our industry is growing, and it's growing because we have more people starting WISPs. We get more questions about how do I get started and what do I need to know and all those things. So we have some of those new sessions in here. So I think it's a good, like you said, it's a good smattering of all the different things that people who are experienced need to know and people who aren't as experienced would need to know as well. I love sending new employees to a WISPAPAOOLZA or a WISP America because they just get bombarded with who we are as an industry. And I can't get an employee up to speed as fast as sending them to 3 days at one of our shows to just get them to understand what we do. So some of the key ones we have ABCs of starting a WISP Part 1 and Part 2. And we put that at the beginning of the show because we want to be able to not cover all the topics necessarily in those, or while we will cover an overview, we wanted to be able to say, oh, and by the way, there's a session tomorrow that you should really go to about this. And oh, there's a session that you should really go to on Wednesday. You should do that and whatnot. So we put both of those first. This year, we have a lot of spectrum sessions. A lot of our regulatory has always been on, what forms do I need to fill out, what rules are changing. But this year, there's a lot of spectrum happening. The president previous to Trump, and now Trump has said, hey, we want more spectrum available. The FCC is pushing for that. And it's a good time to really understand what these spectrum rules mean for our industry because we have a lot of opportunity. and I think it's still going to take a little while to get them out there. But I was surprised as to how much Spectrum update we had. We have our normal one, but then we have 2 or 3 other ones on Spectrum in general. Shifting to the Thursday, I think that's something that I'll really hit on. A lot of people say, well, we used to have this fiber weekend, which was 2 days. Now I only see 1 day dedicated to fiber. And you're correct. Friday is our fiber-only day. But Thursday is a day that we tried to put sessions that it didn't matter if you were a fiber-only operator or if you were only responsible for the fiber side of your company, that you would still get a lot of value out of coming on a Thursday. One of those would be the Connect America Fund. If you're a fiber operator, Connect America Fund might be something you're very interested in because you can use fiber or wireless to apply for it. IPTV. That's something that fiber people can really deploy, and wireless with some of our upgraded equipment are being able to start using as well. So we have those in there. We also have choosing a core. It doesn't matter if you're a wireless operator or a fiber operator, you have to have a core. And some of our wireless operations are getting large enough and the bandwidth is getting high enough that we need 10 gig cores and we need more than that. So we tried to make it where the Thursday sessions would be appealing to both types of operators. And usually our operators, WIS, or a lot of us are getting into fiber, so we are both type of operators already. But this just allows us to cater it even more and try to get more people educated as best we can.
Gotcha. Excellent. Well, that sounds really, really good. Trina, I know you wanted to go over some of the agenda items, some housekeeping stuff and such. What do you got for us?
Yeah, there's just a few things I want to draw attention to. So on Tuesday evening after the evening exhibit hall hours, there will be a WISPAC event, a fundraiser, and they'll be sending out information about that. And one of the changes that we made is we used to have the CEO roundtables and the technical roundtables on the same evening. We have split those up this year at the request of several people who wanted to be able to attend both and felt they were having to choose. So on Tuesday evening will be the CEO roundtables only. And then Wednesday will be a normal day with the evening exhibit hall hours, and those hours being the exhibit hall reception. And then Wednesday evening we will, following the exhibit hall reception and giving you a little bit of time to grab something to drink or something to eat, is the technical roundtables. Now Thursday, what's different about Thursday from shows in the past is there is evening exhibit hall hours. And this is to give the people who, only purchased a fiber boot camp ticket a full day with the vendors, both an afternoon and evening session. Give the vendors time to speak with them if they have not been there on Tuesday and Wednesday. And then following the exhibit hall hours that evening at 7:30, we will have our annual awards banquet, and it is not a reception anymore. It will be a full buffet dinner, and we will have a keynote speaker there along with the awards that we give out each year. And I highly recommend everyone attend, and I really want everyone to attend because the dinner is expensive and I don't want to waste money.
Yeah. That's like,
I am about wasting money.
Yeah, that's
what
like
night will that
awesome.
be again?
That will be from 7:30 to 10 on Thursday evening.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and that's the big award gala, and everybody really should attend that. That should be probably some of the best food that we're gonna have, and all that kind of good stuff. So, really a good time, and that goes to like 10, I believe. So,
yes, it goes to 10 p.m.
Gotcha. Awesome.
And then on Friday we're just doing morning, right? We're gonna have 3 morning sessions, couple intermissions, quick breaks, and then we'll do a lunch and closing. So most people are familiar with our 50-50 draw. You go and get your little card signed off by the vendors, and we give away the cash money, which is always fun. So we will give away a portion of those at the annual awards banquet dinner, but we will also save a couple to give away at closing on Friday to benefit the folks that are there for fiber boot camp. And that'll be something new for them. They've really not had any sort of drawing or prize giveaway when we had Fiber Weekend.
Gotcha. So Trina, I got a message here from our ispradio.com website here. If I turn myself up so I can hear myself, they are asking if there is any chance for a special all-access price for European WISPs that want to attend WISPAPAOOLZA. I don't think that we have something for that, but
no, the only difference in pricing for the only difference in any of the pricing in our tickets is for members and non-members. It's basically that's the only level of pricing difference we offer. I want to keep the pricing fair for everyone. I realize that, people coming from Europe or other sections of the world are spending more money to attend the show, and I do truly sympathize with that. But there are a lot of guys here that are spending significant amount of money. I mean, Nathan, how many people are you flying over, Nathan?
In the past 12, 43 was our record when we were in St. Louis. You do it again, and I'm up to 72 now. So,
I don't think you can count St. Louis things. They're all driving from home and not staying in a hotel. But
okay,
I mean,
well, fair enough.
12 employees, probably an average airfare of $400 to $500, and the same hotel rates that everyone else pays. I do sympathize with the increased cost from people coming from out of the country, but really to keep the pricing structures for members and non-members, the only difference is really the best I can do. I can say that every summer for every WISPAPAOOLZA, we have 3 coupons that come out. Obviously, we've already missed the 4th of July one. The Labor Day weekend one will be coming in September, and the best coupon that there is, which is the Trina's birthday coupon, will be coming out next week.
Yeah, so
wait a second, I already bought my ticket and I could have got a better deal.
Scooter, the coupons come out every year.
Yeah, I mean, the best way is to plan ahead and to buy your ticket prior to the very first cutoff date, so that you get the best price. And
right now, also for the folks traveling in from out of the country, we do have a membership level that is it is a principal membership with no U.S. customers. And that membership level is only $125. So if you are coming from out of the country and bringing, other employees, if there's more than one of you, whatever, it does behoove you to join at the no U.S. customers level. You'll pay $125 for the membership, but you'll save $100 off every ticket. And the other thing is if you're bringing 3 people at that level, the multi-attendee per company discount kicks in, and you get $50 off each ticket at 3 and beyond.
Hey, that's a great deal.
Yeah, I mean, if you combine the multi-employee discount of $50 and my birthday coupon that'll come out next week, you almost get yourself back down to early registration pricing by the time you get $75 off each ticket. The price jumps are typically $100 at each level. So you can get yourself back down to almost the initial pricing level.
Trina, I was thinking of a solution for our international customers. I like to travel internationally, so if they would like to pay for my way to fly and visit them for a couple days, then I'll cover the cost of their WISPAPAOOLZA ticket to the show. Does that work? Am I allowed to do that? Because I do like to travel internationally.
Yeah, I mean, I think this just really kind of brings back the early registration price is the best price that you're probably going to get, and you should take advantage of that as early as possible because it is the best pricing.
Right. And now the other thing that you should take advantage of as early as possible is the hotel block.
Yes, absolutely.
So while many people don't understand the hotel block, think they can get a better rate somewhere else, So the way that WISPA secures the contracts at the hotels is we have to guarantee the hotels two things: a certain amount of food and beverage spend and a certain amount of hotel capacity. I have to purchase or guarantee a block of hotel rooms to the hotel, right? So, but the hotel is the one and only thing that you can get your money back for. Okay, if you purchase a WISPAPAOOLZA ticket and choose not to attend, you check a box at the end of your transaction that says all tickets are non-refundable. And I apologize, but it's the policy. And if you book a ticket on United to go to WISPAPAOOLZA, they're really not going to care if you change your mind, right? I mean, you might get a travel credit, but probably not. But the hotel, and any hotel that we book at, is typically 24 to 72 hours cancellation. Everyone knows if they're going to go to WISPAPAOOLZA on Tuesday by Saturday morning. If you don't, I really, I can't help you plan any closer than 3 days out, right? So the hotel is the one thing that you can get out of with absolutely no penalty. And even if something catastrophic happens and you no-show, they're only going to charge you one night. It is the one thing that you can get out of at every show with no penalty at all. And it also helps us when it gets closer to the show if you book your room sooner rather than later. If I start filling up on Tuesday night now, I have a better chance of addressing that with the hotel and adding rooms to the block than I do on the Tuesday before the room block cutoff happens. And
it's new Skype.
Yeah, so
or did you roll back?
Yeah. So we're back live here, but it's just kind of an odd for as we get everybody back on here. There we go.
We back live?
Yep, we are live again. I hope.
Wonderful. We're fortunate to have Dennis working it when things go bad.
Yeah.
So anyways, let's go back to where we were. Trina was talking about the hotel, and I asked her, where was the hotel information? Well, she put it on the chat, so that's good. I'll go order my hotel room for the week. Anything else about hotel information, Trina, that you want to share with us, and maybe Nathan?
I can tell you that Vegas airport finally relented, and Uber is now allowed to pick up from McCarran, which is new this year. Vegas was one of the last cities, Vegas and Orlando, to cave on allowing Uber drivers to pick up at the airport. So they can pick up now. There's a little bit of scrambling back and forth as to where the pickup area is going to have a permanent home. So if anyone's going to use Uber or Lyft, I advise you to check their website to see where the pickup area is and the instructions on where to meet your Uber or Lyft driver. But as we all know, they tend to be historically cheaper than the cabs.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I was taking an Uber from one of the airports, and he kept driving in circles and kept missing us. Well, it was a double-decker airport, so he was on the bottom and we were on the top, and every time he drove past us we couldn't find each other until he said, no, you got to go to the bottom and pick up. So it is important that you know where to go.
Yeah, and a lot of them they have very special locations, and most of the time it'll geolocate you and it'll say, oh, you need to be at this this floor on this exit and all that kind of good stuff. So really good stuff there. I know we have some keynotes, but I don't think we have them nailed down yet. Correct, Nathan?
Yeah, we have a couple, and I can just kind of go over, we're always shooting for the Netflix and the Hulus, but we do have one of them nailed down, and it's Jack Christensen. He's an author that wrote a book called Frogs Matter Most. Lane Sisk from Server Plus actually knows him and asked him. He's from the local area out there, and he's going to come in and talk and give us a keynote on leadership and how we need to value our employees and the bottom line, and kind of have some great stories. The book's really good, and some good stories as to how we can all be better leaders. So that's the one we have nailed down. We have letters out to the FCC commissioner, a couple other authors, and a popular one is always success stories, where we have our own members stand up and talk about that. So we don't ever have. We always start on the keynotes first, and they're always the last one that we can nail down, just because of people's schedules and waiting for replies and everything. So that's what we have on the docket for keynotes right now.
Gotcha. All right. Well, is there anything else that we need to cover? I know Trina had tossed in the room block link for WISPAPAOOLZA. We talked about the schedule, the event, and such. Nathan, I did say that they did state that they're going to take you up on your offer, and they're going to fly. They should invite Nathan to Greece. Yes,
I would love to go. I should have said my wife has to come with me, so that I should have put that out there. I apologize for changing the deal. Or maybe
caveats.
Go. So.
Gotcha. So yeah, I mean they did say that, and they said excellent answers and all that kind of good stuff. So looks like we're really doing good.
I think one last thing I'd like to talk a little bit about, just briefly, is why all the changes. Why the changes to the show? The show's been growing at 15 to 20% every year. Why do we want to chop and change this? And change is difficult. Even if people agree with it, it's still, well, this is different than last year and different than what we're doing. And I think it's vitally important that we understand that the changes that we're putting into place are because we continue to grow. In order for us to keep up with the demand, the wide variety of people who have never been a WISP before to the people who have been to every show of the last 10 shows, these changes we've had to make are good changes. They're changes that we're trying to do to implement, making the show still relevant, still active, and still having people want to come back every year. It was, early on, you would ask somebody, well, you coming next year? Well, I don't know. I'm going to have to see if the agenda's any good and there's any topics I want to be, and I want to see if the vendors are going to be there that I want to talk to. And now the whole vibe has changed to absolutely I'm coming, and yes, I am going to bring 2 or 3 people with me, which is great. And that's kind of why we're doing these changes, just to make sure that we keep the show relevant. And I think in 4 years, the show will be different than it is today. But those are all good things, because we're trying to stay ahead of that curve and not stagnate and just say, well, it was working in the past, it'll continue to work now.
Well, you remember last year near the end of the show, we had a little discussion at the awards thing saying, hey, we've been giving it some thought, and I think you got an overwhelming yes response for the idea. I think that the membership kind of wanted it by and large.
No, you're absolutely right. Absolutely, yeah. Yep.
Gotcha. And I went ahead and put up, Trina also tossed out the pricing for the All Access, the Master Monday, just for WISPAPAOOLZA, just for the Fiber Boot Camp, and I went ahead and tossed that up on the screen. Actually, I just did that again, just so everybody has that. Trina did put the link in ispradio.com as well for anybody that needs that. So that's all really good. With that said, I think we're good as far as talking about WISPAPAOOLZA, unless there's anything else that you guys can think of.
Well, I just wanted to throw out there for Trina, do you think, or do you have a feel for how many people have pre-registered? I mean, what's the anticipated growth for this show, do you think?
So that's always a tricky question for me. I can tell you that my exhibit hall is sold out and has been for a few weeks. We have got, I believe at the last number, I apologize, I don't have the number at my fingertips, but I believe the last number we had was like 133 unique exhibitors. So that is great. I can tell you that over the 6 years of this show, our standard is a 20% growth rate per show. We have 1 year, or our average, not our standard, I guess our average. We have 1 year that was only 18%. If we follow that growth pattern this year, we will have 2,000 people in the building. Woo! Last year was 1,658. So my staff and I will anxiously watch the attendees page and do a little mini celebration when we hit 1,659 so that we're one over, so we can say it got bigger, right? Now, as with the number of people attending, here's the deal. You guys never do anything early, ever. You don't book your room early, you don't book your flights early, you don't register early. But there's currently 464 people registered. Now, it would take too long to do the math based off the current number and the current day and all of that. But I can tell you that every Friday we run a report that shows us, how many people were registered last year and how many people have registered so far this year, right? And I am trying to pull that up right now. For the last time we ran the number was obviously last Friday on July 21st. At that point, we had 447 people registered, which was 130 individuals over last year, and 144% of last year's attendance, which that number gives Ariel a heart attack, so we try not to say it too much. But we currently have around 27 or 28% of the number of last year's attendees registered. So we're going at, based on history and our averages, we're going at a pretty good clip compared to previous years. Last year at this point, we were at 135% of the previous year. So we're even a little higher this year. And these numbers, because I don't want the pacing to be off, right? Just because we have programming changes. These numbers do not include anyone who has bought a Fiber Bootcamp ticket, a Master Monday ticket, or a full Fiber Friday ticket alone. They had to have purchased an All Access or a WISPAPAOOLZA ticket to be included in these numbers.
There you go. There you go. So
we'll continue on our show to talk about it each week as we get closer.
Oh yeah. So with that said, I think we're good with the WISPAPAOOLZA stuff, and since we got Trina here and myself, we kind of want to probably talk about the current board elections as well as the current bylaws voting, which is going to happen very, very shortly.
Yes. So on Friday, because you guys love to schedule stuff on my days off, we have the annual meeting of the board of directors. So that meeting is open to the membership, and I will have my staff repost the link closer to Friday, because you guys will lose it between now and then, and I want as many people to attend as possible. I don't want it to get buried in that list traffic. So the meeting will be at 1 p.m. Eastern. The members can attend the meeting via GoToMeeting. I do believe we're using GoToWebinar so that we can have a larger number of people there. So at the close of that meeting, the voting will open up to vote on passing the proposed changes in the bylaws. We have listed on the website a summary of what is being changed in the bylaws, and the red lines and all of that. And I will again put that link on the ISP radio page. So folks need to look that over. This is a very important thing with the membership. Just some high level stuff. We cleaned up some grammatical and spelling errors in the bylaws. We kind of tweaked the definition of what our membership is, because it changes over the years. Probably the biggest thing is we have changed the term of directors so that it's a 3-year term, not a 2-year term. And that way we're only electing 3 directors each year, thereby preserving some of the legacy knowledge of directors who have been on for a while and giving more time for people to get up to speed before we have a lot of the longtime board members drop off. We have also initiated term limits in the new bylaws. So all of these things I think are really important to the membership. So I am posting the link for the changes to the bylaws, and that vote will start on Friday at 2:00. And then that vote will run, correct me if I'm wrong, Dennis, but I think it runs until August 2nd or something.
Sorry. Yeah, now you're putting me on the spot here. Let me open up my calendar. I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, I mean the bylaws change is very important, and we definitely need to get that done. Give me a moment here. I am going to open up my calendar.
So the bylaws voting ends. It begins at 2 p.m. on Friday, July 28th, and it ends at 12 p.m. And these times are Eastern. At 12 p.m. on August 2nd. At that point, at 1 p.m., once we know how many director positions are open, the voting will open for the board of directors vote. Now, we do also have all of the nominees for the board of directors and the nuances concerning the elections for the new director. So if the bylaw changes do not pass, we will need to elect 5 directors. And if they do pass, we will need to elect 3. So we've elected to close the election for the bylaws changes before we open the election for the new board of directors. That way we know what we're trying to, how many seats we're trying to fill and how long they're running for.
Exactly. And Trina was right. Yeah, I mean, I got so we're going to open up the bylaws voting on Friday, and then that's going to run until the August 2nd date. And then that's when we'll close that, and then we'll open up the voting period. And the voting period for the actual members, or for the board of directors, will run from the 2nd through the 8th. And then we'll announce the results the following week on Wednesday, on the 9th. So, and I've also tossed up on the screen, like right now, here it is. Here is the current board of director nominees. These are people who have been nominated or was nominated and have accepted their nominations. There is a little, both Chuck Hogg and Mark Radabaugh, if the bylaws changes actually go through, they will be dropped from the list because they do not have to run again. Everybody else is there. We have all their details, everything, all their information that they submitted to us as far as the nomination committee goes is there, so you guys can review them. And of course, we always recommend, or I do anyway, I recommend that if you have a question for one of these potential board members, one of these nominees, email them. Their email addresses should be on their documentation. Or call them out on the members list and say, hey, what do you think about this? Because that is the only way that you're going to get that information. And if you think that information should be shared, call them out on a list and say, hey, can you answer this question? It definitely is helpful.
I think that the list is the better option. There may be, people may not even realize it, but I'm willing to bet for everyone that has a question, there's at least 5 or 6 other people who have that same question.
Yep.
And either they haven't gotten around to asking it, or they hadn't thought about asking it. They didn't realize it was appropriate to ask the questions on the list. But I mean, even if you just want to type up a quick email with 1 or 2 questions that you want all the candidates to answer, by all means, they all should, if they want to be elected to your board of directors, want to engage with you. Sure. So they should all answer. Don't chuckle, Dennis.
I didn't say nothing. Alrighty. Anything else we got, Stephen?
I think that's it. Just make a note for yourself next week at the tower coverage launch that to remind everyone to vote, because our show will be on at it'll be on at noon Eastern Standard Time, so it'll be too late.
Well, the bylaw, it'll be too late for the bylaws, but it will be they will be able to vote for the board of directors then. So
right.
So it should all be good.
You guys are on Wednesdays, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Today is Wednesday, I hope.
It does end on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay.
It ends right in there, but that's why we're bringing it up now, so that everybody knows about it, and everybody knows that the bylaws changes are gonna good. There's red line version, there's the revised bylaws, there's the final proposed bylaws. All those can be downloaded from the link that Trina put into the ispradio.com link.
I'm going to post an email to the members list tomorrow.
Yep.
With some recommendations of some things you can tweak to ensure that you get your ballot, the email address to watch for it to come from, all of that information, so that we can do the best to get as many folks as possible to participate in both elections. So the directions of what to whitelist or who to add to your contact list and what to watch for will be the exact same instructions for the board of directors elections. They're both run out of the same software.
Yep.
Right. And then the webinar Friday. What time's that? I mean, you already probably put the link there.
The webinar is at 1 p.m. on Friday, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dennis.
I don't know if that is. I don't know if that is Eastern or.
Let me open my calendar back up. I'm on hotel internet, so I'm trying not to tax it too much, right?
Yeah. I don't have it, so I don't know what
the
time
meeting is on. We will check the.
It is this Friday, the 28th.
Friday the 28th at 1 p.m. Eastern. So 10 a.m. for the West Coasters.
There you go. Go. All righty. Well, we will get out of here. Stephen, you want to sign us off? And we'll see everybody next week.
Trina and Nathan with the folks at WISPA putting together WISPAPAOOLZA. What a great show. And I appreciate you guys telling us about all the changes and why, and how it's going to be a better show because of that. I mean, just from an economic standpoint, it makes sense. I'm going to be driving in, so if you needed me to pick you up at the airport, I could do that. I won't charge you as much as Uber.
There you go.
But anyways, next week we got tower coverage release, and the next week we got talking about insurance with a company that reached out to me, and I think that it may be of interest to you. So with that, if you'll wrap us up, Dennis, we'll see you all next week. Have a great week, and God bless.
Great. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for listening to ISP Radio. We hope you've gained new insights and additional wisdom in our industry as well as your business. Please remember to visit our show sponsors via the links on ispradio.com. If you're interested in becoming a show sponsor, contact us at sales@ispradio.com. Now go out there and push those packets as fast as you can. Good luck and Godspeed.